In this video, we will cover the process of making a room request using 25 Live Pro. If you are a new user to 25 Live Pro, I suggest that you view the video entitled Intro to 25 Live Pro before continuing with this tutorial. Let's begin. Sign in to 25 Live Pro and navigate to the main dashboard. In our previous video entitled Intro to 25 Live Pro, you learn how to search for locations by using the search dashboard of 25 Live Pro. In this video, we're going to show you how to search for locations by using the location name, or at least a part of the location name. Suppose you would like to reserve a space in the Callaway Center. We can search for such locations in the Callaway Center by going to the Quick Search section of the main dashboard. And in the Search Locations text field, we can type C-A-L-L. Then click Search. All of the locations in 25 Live Pro that have the characters C-A-L-L were returned. In this particular instance, it shows the list view. Just note, if we scroll to the bottom of this page, it's possible that you have more than one page of locations that are returned. In this particular case, we have 19 matches, only one page. So let's scroll back to the top. This is the list view that was covered in the previous video, as well as the calendar view and the availability view. Since we're looking to reserve a space, we're going to be interested in using the availability view. Suppose we want Callaway 201. We will click on that location name, and it takes us to the availability weekly view. Note, there are 4 other views to consider. There's the details view, which will give the details of the location, and details will include any comments about that location, features for that location, any custom attributes for that location, the capacity, which is 20, the category that that location belongs to, which is important if you want to do reporting in the future. And it also has the location scheduler. That is the individual that you would contact if you have any questions related to that location. And as you can see, we have an image for this location in 25 Live. This allows you to actually see what the space looks like without having to visit the location in person. This allows the user to view the space before making a request. Now let's go to the list view. The list view will return all of the events that are occurring on a particular date. In this case, we're looking at October 15th, 2019. There are no requests for that day. So if we were to change the date, let's say to the 17th of October, it will show 2 events that are occurring in that particular location. Now let's go to the availability daily view. It shows the availability grid for that location. Starting on October 15th, every day, since this is a daily view, and it goes until November 15th. Suppose you would like to change the date for this particular grid. You will simply click on the date and change the date on the calendar, or the month for that matter. Let's look at November 14th. Now we are viewing the availability grid for November 14th through December 14th. And finally, let's take a look at the calendar view. The calendar view will show all of the events that are occurring in this space in a calendar format. For this particular calendar, the date range is October 13th through October 19th. We can actually change the date or the range. Instead of 1 week, we can have 4 weeks. Let's return to the availability grid daily. Suppose we'd like to reserve this location for November 21st. We would go down to November 21st and go across until we find a time that works for us. As you can see, the location is closed from midnight up until 7 a.m. From 7 a.m. up until 10 a.m. it's available. Those white squares and that pencil icon indicates that it's available, and if we were to click that particular space, it will load the request form. Anything in green represents an event. If you'd like to get the details for that event, just hover over the event name. Well, let's go ahead and reserve this location for 7 a.m. So we'll simply click the 7 a.m. square. The request form will load. Keep in mind that Emory University uses security groups. A security group is tied to the department that the user belongs to. For instance, if you belong to the School of Nursing or the School of Medicine, those are two different security groups. So your form may not be like the form with the nursing school. I am an administrator, so I belong to the admin security group. So my request form may not look like your request form, but many of the elements on the form will be the same. On the left side of the form, you will see the elements that compose your form: event name, event type, organization. You can skip to any part of your form by clicking on that table of contents on your left side. That takes you down to the event locations. Well, let's go back to the top, and we're going to fill out this form starting from the top. Event name. I'll put just a test. Event type. Select an event type that is indicative of the event that's occurring. I will select meeting. Keep in mind that the event type may be changed by the location scheduler. The only time an event type must match a particular type is when you're requesting a telephone bridge. That's when you will use telephone bridge. But outside of that, any event type will do. Now let's select a primary organization. You can search for an organization and the application will auto-complete the name. If there's more than one organization that's associated with the event, you can add that organization as well. Expected headcount. That's the number of people that you expect to attend the event. In this case, I'll just put 5. Event description is primarily used when you're going to publish to a calendar. In this particular example, we'll leave event description empty. Event date and time. Remember, I selected this location from the availability grid using a particular date and a particular start time. The end time defaulted to 7:30 a.m. If I wanted to give myself more time, I could simply change it. But in this case, I'll leave it the same. The checkbox below it says, this event begins and ends on the same day. As long as you don't cross midnight, you don't have an event that lasts overnight, you should select this checkbox. Setup time is used to reserve time before the event actually starts so that you can implement certain resources, such as setting up a stage or a podium or a banner. Pre-event time. Pre-event time is used to reserve a block of time before the main event actually occurs. Like the setup time, that time must be reserved before the main event. Unlike the setup time, the pre-event time will show up when you advertise the event on a calendar. Post-event time is identical to pre-event time, except it occurs after the event is over. And similarly, takedown time is similar to setup time, except you're taking down the resources, your banners, your stage, your podium, and you still need to reserve the room so that you don't run into another event and you have enough time. The next section. Repeating pattern. If this event will occur on more than one day, then this event is referred to as a repeating event. Therefore, we have to tell 25 Live Pro how we would like to repeat. Let's see what the options are. How does this event repeat? Well, the choices are ad hoc, daily, weekly, monthly. Let's choose ad hoc. Ad hoc means there is no pattern. We have to select the days explicitly that we would like this event to occur on. So let's go with Saturday as well as that Thursday. We'll go on Monday. We'll go on Wednesday. Then we'll go on Friday. Let's view occurrences. So we have Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Let's close. From the availability grid, we chose Callaway. So if we go down to the locations, we'll see the Callaway that we chose. But 25 Live gives you the option of adding additional spaces. You can select those spaces from your starred locations, your predefined locations, all your locations, or your public searches. We went through that exercise in the intro to 25 Live Pro. We can also choose from our starred locations. We talked about starred locations in the intro to 25 Live Pro as well. We're just going to stick with the Callaway location. Again, we can view the occurrences. And unfortunately, after we view the occurrences, we notice that we have one conflict. A conflict means there's another event that's occurring on that particular day in time. Well, what we'll do is we'll just remove that one date and keep the rest of the dates. This is called resolving a conflict. So let's not include that day. Click Close. The next item on this request form is resources. We can search for resources that we want to include with the event. That would include a technician to set up a video conference. It could be tables, it could be chairs, it could be just about anything. And of course, you can have starred resources. We can attach files to this event. It could be a diagram for a layout so that your facilities team could actually lay out your tables and chairs with a certain design. It could be any design that you put up or any type of document that you want to put out there. There are handy notes on a lot of these request forms. In this case, it says speed type is required if request room in Cox, AMOC, wish cab, auditorium, or if it's a van. We have the ability to add custom attributes. Let's see what our options are. Well, since we're not requesting Cox, AMOC, wish cab, or van, we don't need the speed type, and I don't think I need any of these other options as well. So let's close that. The contact rules for this event. Well, I am the requester. In this case, I'm also the scheduler. Let me make a note. In the beginning, I told you that not all forms are the same. Since I am a systems admin, I'll have a lot of elements on my form that you may not see. So you may not see contact rules. You may not have the ability to attach a file. It all depends on your security group. Event comments. Those are comments that will be attached to the event when the event is published. Anyone could see that comment. Internal notes, however, are only for the requester and the schedulers. The general public will never see those internal notes. And lastly, we have event status. If we select the options, I have draft, tentative, and confirmed. You may only have the ability to submit as a draft. So I'll leave it as a draft. Keep in mind, when you submit a reservation request as a draft, it's only that, just a request. You may or may not get the space. And lastly, after saving this event, we can go to the event details, which will give a summary of what we just submitted, or we can create another related event. Well, events in 25 Live are said to be related if we want to group those events together. Let me give you an example. Suppose we're having a camp, and we're going to have 4 different sessions involved in a particular camp. So we would like to group those different sessions under the one camp event. So those will be related events. So events are related if we would like to view those events as a single group. And finally, create a related copy of this event. It's creating a related event, but using a copy of this existing event as the template. We're just going to go to the event details. Now click Save. Now we're viewing the event details, which will be the event name, has my event type, my organization, the contacts, the scheduler, requester, the expected head count, all of the information that I put onto the request form. I can click occurrences to see what dates I actually requested. So that's the first day, and we have 4 occurrences after that. Remember, we had a conflict on Saturday the 23rd, so I did not include that in my request. Now, let's go to the main dashboard. Let's refresh the main dashboard. If we go to the section of the main dashboard that says Your Event Drafts, you can see that I have 1 event draft in which I'm the scheduler and 1 event draft in which I'm the requester. Whenever your request is in a draft state, that means it hasn't been approved. So each morning when you log into 25 Live, you can look at your event drafts to see if your requests have been approved or not. And if it hasn't, you can contact the room scheduler. That concludes the video on submitting a request for a location in 25 Live Pro.